Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Vintage Collection Show. Did one last week, but we had a Fan First Friday, so I thought I'd do another one this week, even though they're supposed to be every other week. But who cares, eh? I have John Miko with me today. He is one of the admin. I don't know if you're the admin or one of the admin of the Vintage Collection Facebook group, which has over 12.5, is it nearly 12,500 now, isn't it?
Yep,
members. How you doing today, mate? All right?
Good, Tim. Thanks for having me on. Cheers, mate.
You're on the gin. I'm on the water.
I'll let them know I'm having some good old Beefeaters British gin here. So salute to you.
Yeah, cheers, man. I'm just going to allow time for a few people to get in, and we'll say hello to some people. Oh, Left Coast Graphics. How you doing, man? He does amazing work. He's on Instagram. Does some awesome work. Got loads of his stickers and his t-shirts and stuff. Tyler, SWTVC. If you haven't followed them on Instagram, you should support the guys. Collector 1970. How you doing, my friend? Jonathan Redmond. Loads of familiar names in here. Usual Mike. How you doing? James Wilson. Greetings, boss from the USA. My mate Daniel Chart always makes me laugh. How you doing, mate?
Nice.
Buddy, Chocolate Chip. David Cass, how you doing, my friend? We've got Randy, John Charlton, Tim Bainbridge. They're all coming in. Biker Scout, Darth Rock, how you doing? I can't keep up with it. Delvin Seek, Bill Polk, how you doing, guys? Good to see you here. Drew Matt as well. How you doing, guys? Excuse me.
Awesome. I saw some of our fellow members too out there. So JD, good to see you on. Obviously Tyler and some other folks. So that's awesome.
Josh B. Chris is here. Hi there, Chris, nice. Mate. Classic Action Figures and my mate Harry. How you doing, mate? I think I saw my friend Mark. Yep, Chocolate Chip Wookie. He's in here as well. Awesome. All right. So, Vintage Collection Show. So we're here to talk about the Vintage Collection, obviously. And we had Fan First Friday yesterday. But before Fan First Friday, something happened, didn't it, on social media with I don't know. Should we name the retailer? Everyone knows who it was, don't they?
Yeah, I was going to say. I think everyone knows what happened.
So basically, Dorkside Toys dropped the two images of Ahsoka Tano and Darth Maul, the Clone Wars ones, which was quite funny because obviously they were going to be on Fans First Friday, no doubt. And as quick as they went up, they went back down again, didn't they?
Yeah, it happened pretty fast, right? Probably within 20 minutes, maybe less. I don't know. That I was so stuck in that moment. As many of us, we follow certain folks that might have been on your show last week, and got the notification, and of course went scrambling to communicate it to all of our different social channels, and yeah, it was a pretty exciting time for to get that information before it was going to happen, a couple hours before it was going to happen, but it was pretty exciting.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, and then obviously the person we're talking about took their post down because the retailer took theirs down. And it was already too late because so many people had like regrammed him and posted them on their own Twitter and everything, but it was all too late. And I was already making a video straight away as soon as I saw those. But as I said to you off air, like I did have that video all created and ready to go, but I thought I'd give Hasbro, I didn't want to like add fuel to the fire. So I thought I'll press live once the live stream's done. Anyway, before we get into the quality of those figures, I did want to ask you about the Facebook group. Do you just want to give us a bit of history of the Facebook group? Because I think I've probably been a member, I don't know, I've been a member with my real name for maybe a couple of years, I think, maybe a bit less than that. And as my social name for a little bit less, but as you know, I don't I sort of lay low in that group because of some of we won't go into that, but tell me a little bit about the group anyway. So how's you've grown it massively in a short space of time, right?
Yeah, I appreciate the kind words. We've been around almost 3 years, so we've I think we've moved pretty quickly to faster than probably a lot of other toy groups recently. With just I mean, over the last year alone, I think we've gained 5,000 new members. So it happened. I created the group around 3 years ago after the barge was announced.
Right.
So, it was one of those things where I was excited for the line to come back. It was right before we got the first wave of figures. And at New York Toy Fair, they dropped the barge, and that fueled like most of us, it got us even more excited about things to come, right? So I looked out on Facebook groups, and I enjoy Facebook groups. For me, I don't go on there and look at my personal profile activity feed. I don't go out there to, it's more for all of my hobbies and the groups out there. I love craft beer, and I love collecting Star Wars. So those were two of the groups I would go to. And when I first started looking for specific TVC groups, I did see a UK group, a small UK group. I saw a Canadian group, and I saw a group that was really just dedicated to the first iteration of the line, that TVC 1.0.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, when you went to them, they were all buy and sell. So like the default page was buying and selling figures, and you had to actually click on discussion. And I thought, well, you know what? I think there should be a discussion group out there primarily.
Yeah, no.
And let's make one and share our passion, share our collections, and hopefully be a bridge between the collectors and Hasbro. And I think we've seen that. I hope we haven't scared them away. We almost scared you away. But that's the thing. We do have a lot of rules. We expect people to respect one another. We hope people are being constructive with their feedback. And again, this is a hobby. Let's just enjoy it. And I always joke around that we're there to enjoy it. We're there to also give our feedback. Our opinions do matter. And there's times where sometimes we might, the admin team, and some of us do feel like we are somewhat TVC therapists.
Yeah.
But primarily the group was there to just enjoy the line and, again, share with each other. We've got a lot of great members out there doing a lot of great things, from posting their collections, posting amazing photography, videos, some great videos. We have some great topics as well. And like people like Wade Kuhn, who puts his customs, he shares his customs with us on there. Yeah. And they get 500 comments and 1,000 likes. And but yeah, so we have a lot of topics out there too. So we've had people tell us just how much knowledge they've gained from the group. We have a trusted member post where you can share feedback and get your name put on a trusted member list, where you can, basically let us know that I traded or I bought from this person, and they should be on your list. And we add to the list. So there's almost, I think, 100 people on that list. So it's definitely, I think, a safe place in most circumstances to trade and sell with people. And then, if I could just quickly mention our admin team and the great thing they're doing. Awesome. Thank you. So I think everybody in the social media collecting knows Lando Griffin. So Lando was one of the first people I I reached out to and said, hey, like, your collection is absolutely ridiculous. It's amazing. You know, come join this group, and I would love for you to admin with me, if that's cool. And he's really been our hugest contributor, you know, just posting a lot of amazing themes within his collection, ideas that, you know, Hasbro can do, just showing different things from here's all of the troopers in TVC, here's all of the women of TVC, here's, you know, all your different bounty hunters or goons, you know, what have you. So he's done a lot to showcase all of that. And then also his collection, he's probably got one of the most complete collections. I call him Steve Sansweet Jr. You know, because he has pretty much every figure. I'm not going to go into variants and card backs, but every figure from Kenner all the way to modern. I think he's only missing some small pockets of some of the smaller lines. So, you know, it's been great having him, you know, he's going to put a post up pretty soon about here's what's left in the 96 for Hasbro to do. So, you know, he's been a huge contributor in that aspect. We have Paul Kocher. Many people know Paul from his Rebel Scum days. Yes. Thanks, Tyler. Paul Kocher, everyone knows him as since 1978 on Rebel Scum. I know Griffin doesn't. He's got much more than just Hasbro Star Wars, too. But yeah, so Paul, excuse me, he was very well known in on the Rebel Scum forums. I believe there was a couple of figures in TVC he had his hand in helping bring to fruition. One of them was Nikto.
Right.
I think VC was at 99.
And
a couple others that probably someone like Chris can help us out in the comments. But anyways, he's done some really cool discussions about different things Hasbro can do to get some more figures out. So stuff like he has a whole thread on TVC easy releases, right? Where he goes into just, hey, all you have to do is kit bash these couple figures, and here you go. You have this figure. Sorry, from off the top of my head, I can't think of any of them. But he's also done one on TVC ready repacks. Like, hey, here's a list, or he does a post. He was doing posts every now and then. Here's another figure that we could easily repack into the line, right? So there's a lot of great stuff out there. I encourage people to go out there and look at our topics. We have a lot of topics, and they're actually labeled like, you know, TVC ready repacks, or hey, Hasbro, make these, or original 96. And then we have Corey Yarnell. He is like our resident expert in every variant, every unpunched card, which figure had unpunched, which figure didn't, which one had an offer sticker, all the different offer stickers, or all the different variants. I would consider myself not quite up to his speed, but close. And I probably know maybe a little more about the actual figure variants. And he's also put together in our files section a case assortment spreadsheet, which is absolutely a huge wealth of knowledge, like literally chronological listing of every assortment. I think there's still some to add to it, still some we're missing, but he's got a list out there, and you can literally look up the assortment, the date stamps, and you know, what figures were in those assortments, and if all of that information. He's done a great job with our FAQ section. And then we have Augustine, who many people know as well. He has this knack for posting notifications when things go in stock or come back from out of stock, in stock, or when pre-orders come back up after they sell out. So he's been a huge pulse almost to the community, to help just inform our members, like, hey, this is back in stock. You better buy it right now, or you might not get it again. And he's a pretty big convention goer. So he's gone to everything from San Diego Comic-Con to New York Comic-Con Celebration. I believe he's helped the good guys at Bantha Skull, representing them at San Diego Comic-Con and I think New York in the past. And yeah, he's also very knowledgeable with what's going on in Latin America. So he's from Argentina. So he gives us the scoop on, hey, Mexico's getting all the incinerators that maybe we should be getting. So yeah, that's the admin team. And, again, we just want to be the bridge between us and Hasbro. There are some folks in the group that work for Hasbro. Like many people know Steve Evans,
Yep.
Mr. Stevie there. He posts every now and then. It's always a pleasure and delight to see him, him posting. And yeah, we have some other people in the group too. So, they're there, they're checking it out. And again, we're just there to enjoy the hobby and share our passion. Yeah.
I mean, like the fact that the people are there, that's good. I mean, Hasbro do say they listen and they check out forums and stuff like that. And Facebook's a big thing. And if you're the biggest group, then that's where they should be. But so if anybody's in the chat that isn't a member of the Vintage Collection Facebook group, it's the one with 12,500 members, then yeah, just get yourself in there. As John says, there's like loads of content in there, as well as everyone just posting their collections and where things are dropping. And I often go in there and I see like, I managed to pick these up today at Walmart, and I'm like, I'm not going to get those for like God knows how long, It's like, I really want to put myself through that sort of thing. But yeah, but then on other times, I'll sit in there with 2 or 3 Mandalorians VC 177s for weeks, and you guys were having an absolute nightmare with that one. So swings and roundabouts, isn't it, really?
Yeah, good point there. I mean, we are pretty lucky in the States for the most part, so we shouldn't complain too much about that.
No, but we're Star Wars collectors. We always complain, don't we? So it's allowed. It's part of being a Star Wars fan, I reckon. Moaning. Right. So let's talk about so the reveals, right? So we got. Let me see if I can share my screen, so if we can.
Yeah, awesome.
Everyone's probably seen these already, but let me. We'll start talking about, while I'm doing that, we'll start talking about Ahsoka first of all. I take it you're happy with that figure?
Oh, I'm over the moon with her. I think we've obviously had the other Ahsoka, in the TVC line, and then she was re-released in the Black Series 3.75-inch line, and the likeness isn't really there. So it's great to get a scene or a season specific, right? Ahsoka, and I mean the articulation, the paint deco, the likeness is just, I think it's pretty fantastic. What do you think?
Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I thought, this is what the Vintage Collection's about, And it does seem like every time they do a new figure, there's not too much to sort of pick on with it. They seem, new figures, they seem to be absolutely nailing. Pretty much all of the Mandalorian figures. You can't really moan about any of them, really. I mean, you could go, we should have had a soft goods cape or whatever, but in the main, they're just amazing figures. So this one's no exception. Fantastic. And they did mention lots about the detail about splitting the skirt so that it doesn't hinder the articulation and things like that. So it sounds like they're actually thinking about this sort of thing now, I did wonder about the hinges on its. Are they different hinges or what's going on with those? They look a little bit different on, especially the elbows.
Oh yeah, the elbow, it looked like you could see some pins. Looks like on the forearm they might be hiding them pretty well, but I don't know about on the underside of her arm. But I don't know if the Tross Ray we got is similar to that. I do want to pull her out for a second.
Yeah, because you can really see that pin there, can't you? And obviously she's got skin arms, hasn't she? She hasn't got like clothing on or anything. So it's obviously a little bit different or whatever.
So yeah, I am looking at.
If you look at the hinge on the shoulder, it's like painted half her clothes and half her arm, which is good.
Right, for her ability to really have that articulation, probably, right, that to extend it. But yeah, the Tross Ray, it doesn't have those pins, so I'm not sure. I'm just looking at this figure, guys, but I'm not sure what they were going after there, if there was a reason for that. Maybe you know what it probably does is it probably allows her to move her arm more than just, I think the newest ones go almost like maybe 60 degrees.
Yeah.
Past 90. I keep going the wrong way here. And that almost looks like it'll allow her to really extend almost fully. So that could be why they were doing that, to make her a lot more posable. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool. She's got rocker ankles, hinged wrists, right? The knee joints are interesting, but when she's straight, or she's standing straight up,
her knee pad is high, wasn't it?
Yeah. But again, that could be more of a reason to again give her ultimate posability, which that's totally fine by me.
See, when I look at this, I think I even said in my video, like, and I am a bit biased, but I said, it looks better than the Black Series one, but that's because I just always think 3.75 inch look better just in terms of scale anyway. That I always think Black Series look a little bit on the, not overweight, but they I don't know, their legs always look a bit podgy to me. I don't know, it's just the sort of scale of them, really, in like the proportions, and
yeah, good point.
There's not too much difference with that head sculpt there, considering how small it is compared to the Black Series, in my opinion. So that's what I was saying. When Hasbro actually do make new figures, they're on par now for me with what they can do in the Black Series. They look just as good.
Completely agree. And there's times where you see photos of them, like photography photos of them, and you almost you have to like zoom in and really look at them to see, like, is this a 6 inch or a 3.7? Oh my, wow, that's 3.75. So yeah,
that's a classic gag, isn't it? Whenever you put a picture up, someone goes, "Is this 6? What scale is it?" It's like, man, it's got the Vintage Collection logo on it. Come on.
Yeah. In those circumstances, yes, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, there's quite a bit of examples of the most recent figures where they are getting they're better. They're almost better. They're just as good. And I do know that it's a challenge for the design team to take a 3.75 inch figure and make it better. So they're actually challenging themselves to do it. So I think that's pretty cool that they have passion, and when it's new tooling, to really make it superior. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and as it should be, really, shouldn't it? It's, in this day and age, this is the quality that we should be getting every time there is a new figure, for sure. And obviously later on we're going to be looking at what they've done with some of the repaint, repacks, rehash, kit bash, whatever we want to call them, and we're going to pick the bones out of those, unfortunately. But you've got to give them credit when credit's due, and they've nailed these two. And here's more.
Oh, you know what? If you could go back for a second.
Yeah.
Chris just messaged me, and he was like, typically the pins are there during prototype, when they're prototyping the figure. So maybe they won't be there in the final production photo. So thank you, Chris Swansky. Thank you, my friend. And yeah, and again, looking at this Ray, it looks very similar. So maybe maybe those will be
It definitely stood out for me, and I got a few people messaging me saying what's with the pins, you know. So
yeah, you can see it on the side of the knees too, right? So it's
you can, the
inside there, the inside knee. So time will tell on that. And you know what's interesting too is if you look at her saber hilts, I know this is like probably an artist rendering in a bit painted, and we can talk about that really quick about some of the rendered photos. It looks like they're kind of carbonized in some way. So I wonder if they're taking some of the carbonized features that they've been using on some of the Mandalorian figures and putting them on these figures as well. I don't think it's any type of back metallized, but it's like they're trying to make things a little more realistic looking from a metal. You know, anytime there's a metal hilt or armor. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, people take for granted paint deco. Paint deco is probably one of the more costly things for TVC. You know, some of these figures are getting up to 80 paint applications. You know, so people like to talk about, well, it's the amount of articulation and the amount of tooling. I mean, tooling's one thing, but then there's assembly costs and then paint deco costs, and paint deco can be some of the more costly. So,
So more looks good as well, doesn't he? And they did mention on the live stream about so obviously with these Clone Wars figures, they're obviously a cartoon character, and historically they've been making them more human-like, less animated. But in this one, they actually made a point of making his face a little bit longer, didn't they, to match the Clone Wars a little bit more. I mean, he still looks more realistic, but it's sort of like meeting it halfway sort of thing.
Yeah, and his face sculpt and it's the sculpting of the head looks just absolutely amazing. I know people in the past, as much as we got the updated paint apps for the specialty repack of the episode 1-1, the horns and all of that look so much more accurate. And just, that snarling look by him, and it looks incredible. And he's not a human, and they use photoreal on him, right? Usually photoreals for humans, but they've been applying it to Maul figures, which is great. You can see the hinged wrists. Looks like, again, like his elbows and whatnot allow him to be even more posable at a more of a 60 to 45 degree angle to do some of that interesting stuff. And these are probably prototypes, because you can see kind of a pin right there on his hip.
I can see that.
So Chris got a good point there. It's probably just
why do you think that they at this point, I know they're digital renders essentially, but do you think that they don't like show you the card image? Because these must be in production already, right? So, because we know when these are coming, they're coming in July or whatever. So they'll be being made in the factory now, I guess. Because if they were talking about that Boba Fett, saying half of it had already shipped and what have you. So that was a good, God knows how long before the figure's actually due. Is it just like, because we want to give you something else to show you on another live stream? Here's the card back. Or because it would have been nice. They gave us the 3 card back images of the OG ones, but obviously we know what those card backs are like because they're from Vintage Kenner. But it'd just be nice because, like, some people collect the vintage collection for the, they're carded collectors. You're talking about the intricacies of the joints and all that. But some people are like, I just want to keep it in the packet and I just want to look at it on the wall, sort of thing. I always wonder why they don't just, like, give you something. Or there's still a few figures, isn't there, coming in March that we still haven't seen the card backs for. So we haven't seen the card back for Leia.
Yeah. Leia. I think that's the only one, right? Still.
Yeah, because we have seen. So they did it with Grief Karga. Why couldn't they have done it with these? I don't know. I just find it a bit strange. But
I don't know why we didn't at least see Bespin escape Bespin Escape Leia's. I don't know why we didn't see that one. These, it is interesting because they're well. If I can take a step back, we've seen a lot of rendered digital, samples or reveals of figures, right? Like Boba Fett, Grief Karga, I think the Child, Bespin Leia was like Bespin Escape Leia was like almost like a mix because she's a Kipash, and a lot of people have asked why that's happening, and I follow a person on Instagram that Blainer Things that interviews a lot of Mattel, Hasbro, different toy manufacturing people in that industry. And he had someone on who does a lot of the, I forgot their specific title, but they do a lot of the paint applications to the prototypes. And they're the ones that figure out all of the paint, the paint deco for the figures. And they basically talked about how COVID had caused all of that to go digital. So before they would actually like paint them up by hand to the exact deco that they were going to, produce in the factory and then do a photo shoot with that actual figure. But because of COVID and not being, in the office and everyone being there, she had to shift and learn how to do all that stuff digitally. So it was a challenge for her to learn it digitally and then, get things ready and make them look as, as realistic as possible from a toy perspective, to get that out there. So if people are wondering that's why we were getting a lot of that stuff. This is interesting though, because this looks like almost like a mix where it's, it looks like the actual prototype figure with some touch-ups. I'm not sure why some of the card backs aren't revealed at the time of, and then some are, right? Because I think with Boba Fett, we got him on the card.
And then we all kicked off. Maybe the image they've picked for Leia is absolutely shocking and they know it and they don't want us to all moan and say you should have used the one Wade Customs pick.
Yeah, there you go. Like, they want to ease the, get the moaning in more of an iterative fashion here.
It can't be changed.
Yeah, and I'd like to thank you and Tyler for now causing a bunch of people to message me saying, "Hey, if you get an orange carded Boba Fett, can you please hold one aside for me?" So I'm blaming you guys for that.
What about the numbers?
Well, no, I just had a bunch of people like, "Oh, so you ordered 40? So if you get one, can you put one aside for me?"
That was Tyler. That was Tyler. Don't blame me.
And I mean, that's also part of the game here in the States is, you pre-order from a bunch of places. And if you don't cancel them, depending on when you get which, if you get your Amazon order first or your Entertainment Earth order first or your Hasbro Pulse order, you cancel some of them.
And also you can sort people out that haven't got them and all that stuff. Jason's saying here that it may be just as simple as waiting for the Lucasfilm approval of like, they've probably got these timings and like this has got to be released then, and they're probably governed by all that stuff. Maybe the Leia one did baffle me though, because I really did think that we'd see that on this stream, because we could potentially have that. I don't know, but maybe some of my retailers are saying that wave's now March, although others are saying May. So I don't really know, but that's the first proper wave of the year anyway, isn't it? It's got to be soon, unless you're counting the Mandalorian wave as a 2021 wave.
Right. Yeah. Technically that was budgeted or allocated to 2021, but they pushed it up, right? So, or pushed it earlier, however you want to say that. But yeah, no, that's a good point. Thanks, Jason, for all the approvals. But yeah, we should be seeing some of these by now. Yeah, it is interesting how different sites tell you when they're expecting the figures. Like I think these on Amazon in the States, it's saying July, I think.
Yeah, I've got this wave down as July, but the wave with Boba Fett and layer and what have you. If you go on Dork side, I think they say May, whereas all the UK sites say March. But
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
I'm
hoping for March. That'd be great.
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
But yeah, so what else? What else we got on Maul here? He's got, of course, rocker ankles too.
So what's going on with his legs then? Do you think the rest of his mechanical legs are underneath his garment there, or underneath his trousers? Because he was cut at the waist, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
So they're saying that the rest of his mechanical legs are under his trousers, I'd imagine, because a lot of people have said, wasn't he cut at the waist? And he was, wasn't he? But
yeah, and just watching the season 7, that is basically how he was his attire was. So apparently he had a need for some would you call these shorts at this point?
Yeah.
Some cargo shorts.
But he looks great, and obviously I think I mentioned in my video they've used the blue background there, so we can presume usually that is the case, that it'll be a blue name pill with a blue background for back of both of those. That's usually the case, because I remember when they changed Poe Dameron, he was supposed to be a Force Awakens character and they had him on the blue, and then he didn't ever come out, and then they changed him to the Rise of Skywalker, and he ended up on orange. And the new photo of him, like that one with the Maul, it was on orange. So it tends to be the case that they do that. So that'd be interesting. I'm all into that sort of thing. What colours the name pill and things like that. Some people might not be, but I quite like all that.
Yeah, and it looks like his saber hilt too looks in a couple of the pictures like it's carbonized a bit, and even almost his legs. I mean, it still does kind of look rendered in some way. So it'll be
the legs especially do, don't they?
Yeah. Yep. So very excited for these two. They look absolutely fantastic. So amazing.
So let me just stop sharing that screen. So I know you wanted to cover sort of like a few of the other things that they said. So basically those dropped way before Fan First Friday live stream. They must have been pretty annoyed that they did, especially by one of the main retailers. But that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Well, I'm sure they at least enjoyed the reaction to it, right? It was thunderous applause on the social.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like sometimes I think all the secrecy. I know they want to do their reveals and stuff like that, but rumors and leaks, that's what gets people talking. That's like, if nobody's talking about your brand in between their own reveals, then you might as well go home now.
That's a great point.
You want the community sort of riled up and speculating and rumoring and all that kind of stuff. That's speaking to Jason about it last week, and that's that's the game. It's you need that.
Well, even the point of and he has a good question there too. Jason Yakface, a few comments up. Yeah, I don't know if you showed that already. Sorry. That's a good point. I think they all are.
No, you've got the two clones are on. So Wolf and
oh, right.
So right. Yeah, so Rex, Anakin, and Obi-Wan are all blue.
Blue.
I'm just looking at it now, but then you've got the two clones, which are like, as you like to say, or I like to say, English mustard yellow.
Mustard yellow, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could probably think that Echo will be, when Echo comes out, he'll probably be on that yellow, wouldn't he? They'll want them to match, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I was going to say too that all of these conventions and Fan First Fridays, Mando Mondays, the whole point of conventions and these releases is to create excitement and re-energize everyone. You don't want to go go home after these events feeling defeated and hopeless, and obviously we dealt with a lot of that last year, right?
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
So
I flew to New York by myself for nothing. No, it was good. I'm joking. It was still good, but I got a power droid out of it.
Right.
Not
Yeah.
personally given one, but I saw it, you know, in the flesh. But,
Mhm.
it's good. It's still good being there. But yeah, I know what you mean. Like you need them to give you something, you know, to keep it going.
Right. But so obviously they started off the Fan First Friday with a couple of things they had to address, which
Yeah.
seems to be the typical norm these days. Not, every one of these they have to address a couple of things.
Yeah.
Maybe not at first, but at one point during the Fan First Friday.
But I think that's another thing about the COVID thing, isn't it? Because they wouldn't be doing all these live streams and stuff. They wouldn't have Facebook comments, you know, like this, that, and the other. They wouldn't have all that. They would see the fan sites and have interviews with them at the conventions face to face, and they'd have the Q&A things, but they wouldn't really be doing these live streams, or certainly not nowhere near as often, because they haven't got that outlet anymore, or at the moment anyway, of the physical conventions. So they've got to do all these things. And it's new for them, isn't it? I mean, Patrick's sitting there in his front room, you know, it's like, with a dodgy mic, you know. And as you say, you know, they in between the community saying this, that, and the other, and yeah, you're right. They seem to be addressing stuff a lot.
Yeah, and you hope on one hand that, with the technology we have today, we could be a little more on the pulse of those things, and being able to communicate. But like you're saying, on the other hand, that it could be limiting or debilitating some of that because of lack of those physical conventions and gatherings. So
So they specifically talked about the they almost apologized. Well, they did apologize, didn't they, about the whole furore surrounding VC. They didn't name VC17 as the thing, but that's what they were alluding to, most definitely, about pre-orders and in general. I don't believe they mentioned the word Walmart, but everyone knew what they were talking about, right? So
yeah, and there's been some Black Series issues, I believe, as well, with pre-orders with Walmart. So it was definitely a general statement, like, we know there's things going on.
I'm only laughing because it's like in the very same live stream, it's like, and here's 3 more Walmart exclusives.
yes, great point. It's like, God. And then everyone's wondering, like, where are they happening today? Are they happening today? Are they happening today? And then there's like one point in the whole conversation, I think, where he's like, those are happening at a later time to be announced. And you're like, oh, I missed that the first time. So
yeah. But yeah. So and as he was apologizing, the comments were just, Walmart sucks from everybody, literally. You know, if they ever needed to get the message, there it was, right there in black and white on the screen. You know, obviously, I think Tyler said it as well last week, and I've never seen it as bad in terms of over 1 or 2 figures. You know, the problems that people had and the amount of discussion, shall I call it, on social media because of it. I mean, I felt really sorry for you guys over there, because such a great figure. Both of them are great figures, you know. It shouldn't be exclusives anyway, those two, you know. So
right.
Yeah, I felt for you.
Those are those are the figures that really give them that confidence, give them that the line it's very successful. This stuff is selling out. We need to make more of it. That type of stuff. And it gives Walmart more confidence that they can start stocking the shelves again more. And, not just relying on a lot of these exclusives they get being online only, which has been a problem with a lot of them. And they love TVC, apparently, supposedly. So Walmart is a big fan of TVC. They support it. It's just, people want to see more of it. And the weird thing is people have been seeing more of the specialty wave on pegs at Walmart than the main line. So people are reporting 2 to 3 cases of specialty.
Yeah.
The Padme and the Queen Amidala, the Peasant Anakin, and all those. And they're like, I swear, when we get the main line, they're only putting like 1 case up or 2, not 3.
And they addressed that as well, didn't they? They addressed the whole skew issue, and there was some kind of wondering whether that he was actually right in what he was saying about it being on a different skew, or it's going to be on a different skew, or is it already? And I think Jason might have confirmed that the original first wave wasn't, but then the rest of them were.
Right.
And now they're going to change it. So what do you think happened there? Because that first wave was all the Hoth ones, wasn't it? Hoth Leia, Echo Base Han, and all that. They didn't hit retail. It was the one after that, the Bespin Han and those ones that hit retail.
Right.
Do you think that they thought, well, we've come up with this great idea to do like a repack thing to get new collectors in, and they're going to be online only, and then they realize that model probably, because the casual fan doesn't really go to Dorkside Toys and Big Bad Toy Store, do they? The whole point, if you're trying to get new fans in, casual fans in, it's walking past a peg and seeing it on the shelf and going, wow, Han Solo on that card back, isn't that great? I'm going to start getting back into those. So maybe there's a conscious thing that I actually thought, bugger it, we're just going to put them on that original SKU and get them into retail.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I know at one point, to finally get things moving past the dreaded wave, the first wave, because we never saw Yak Face that wave.
No.
On the pegs. A bunch of us found them at Ollie's for $4 a piece. But they finally figured out to change the SKU and change it, I think, more often after that. Certainly not as knowledgeable as some of the other folks, but don't forget Amazon. Oh, this is Chris. Yeah. Don't forget Amazon is the toy aisle for a lot of customers now. Yep. I mean, Amazon's definitely the storefront, but I guess you could still question, is that for casual people too? Because we've had some people actually tell us, I was at Galaxy's Edge and I saw the figures at Galaxy's Edge and I bought them, or so I think there are some situations where people come back into it by bumping into it at a toy aisle or at a Disney store, if you will. But yeah, it's definitely this whole SKU game and changing the SKUs so they purchase more, purchase a different SKU. I don't really understand that. And if they need to change it more often, then please do.
Yeah. So he did say that it's going to change from next year for that wave, those repacks.
Well, they said it would be a separate one as well. So I think what we find here is like there's a lot of inventory. There's a couple different inventory websites, right, where you can look up a SKU or a UPC, and it could be any of the last 2 or 3 assortments that share that SKU, right? So, for instance, you don't know if you're walking in to pick up the Armor Beskar Mando Moff Gideon, wave, or you're going to be getting the Chirrut Luke and all of that assortment, you know what I mean? Or it could be the I think those were all in the same one. I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but generalizing it. Or it could have been the Clone Wars Anakin, Obi-Wan, Wicket, and Maul assortment. So you didn't know what you were walking into. And there's times where on Walmart.com, it's just a general, the vintage collection assortment figure, and you just buy it and you're hoping for the best.
Oh, really?
Same thing with Best Buy. People were buying like 5 or 6 figures, picking up, I actually got the first Mandalorian, season 1, episode 1 and 2 Mandalorian and Cara Dune by doing this at Best Buy, purchasing 5 random figures. And then other people are going, oh crap, I got more of the Tross wave or some other wave that they already got. So
Dross. Oh, I didn't say that.
Well, I just meant it from they'd already bought it.
Yeah, no, I'm only kidding. I like the Rise of Skywalker, kind of.
Me too.
All right. So, what else?
He did say there's going to be 2 separate SKUs now.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah,
and they can how do you say it? Different peg or the retailer can pick what they want. So, be interesting
someone
to
needs to be
see.
telling them what they want, though, don't they? They need to be sort of, guiding them of what's what. I'm sure they have reps and stuff that goes into these stores and what have you. And
I mean, you would hope they're, I know Adam Paulus not too long ago from Entertainment Earth had a thing where he was talking about a lot of the Mandalorian product hasn't satisfied the demand. So is this discussion you're having with the retailers, can you have that to say, hey, the demand's not being met for these assortments. We're going to reissue them. You should probably buy more of them. Or in future, it's, based on these figures, this data, you're not fulfilling the customer's demands. I don't know. Makes sense.
If you're a rep for Hasbro, you'd go into the stores, wouldn't you? And you'd say, right, VC 140, this Stormtrooper, you want hundreds of these. Just buy as many of these as possible. You never even saw those on the pegs, did you? That wave.
Which ones?
The VC 140, the Rogue One Stormtrooper. That's just crazy.
No.
Imagine if those were on the pegs. My God.
I bought a lot of them through Walmart.com and through Entertainment Earth. But yeah, I mean, like everyone's talked about, right? That if figures like that should be on the pegs at all times. Certain figures should be on the pegs at all times for people. I know Chris talks about that a lot. Tyler, I think you guys were talking about that with Jason too. But yeah, there's certain figures that should always be there for.
I think a good test will be May. With this Boba Fett, you've just had the Mandalorian. You had Boba Fett in it. The Slave One sales after that went through the roof. Couldn't get them for love nor money. And you've got the Book of Boba Fett coming up. He's just on everyone's minds, isn't he? If he is in store, then the TVC should go like this. And, the confidence should flow, really, shouldn't it? It's just, we just got to pray that figure goes into every store across the States in their droves,
Yeah, and you would hope those are some of the figures that toy buyers and executives know are very popular and big sellers, and that should be fulfilled. I mean, we should be seeing Din Djarin and Child on the peg at all times right now. Yeah, and you should be seeing figures like that Boba Fett. I've actually been very unlucky with my retail experiences. I buy a lot of things online, and if I happen to see it now in store, it's a bonus. But many of the most popular figures in the past year, I have not seen on a peg. I've not seen the Mandalorian, Cara Dune, Beskar Mando, the Armorer, Power Droid. I know poor Chris was like his childhood dream to see some of these Kenner figures on a peg, and especially one as obscure and tertiary as that one on a peg. So that's really unfortunate, and there's no reason.
I think May will be a good test. Let's see what happens with that, because if you're Hasbro and you want to make any kind of money, then you've got to make sure that figure is in every store going, really. It's just crazy.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, May is generally like after they've these next couple months is where they get rid of all of the Christmas, the last year's toy stock, and they start getting ready for the next year of new toys and new season for that. So
Okay, so I'm just looking at our notes here. So yeah, so we've gone through their little spiel. Now then they started talking about complete the 96, didn't they? And they even had it in the Kenner thing, which I thought I had a little giggle about that, because obviously the guys at SWTVC on Instagram, they've got the finish the 96, haven't they? And they didn't blatantly steal that, because I know Hasbro in the past have like stolen Jason's graphics and stuff and used them.
Oh, right.
For themselves. So they didn't just blatantly nick that, but yeah, I mean, obviously anyone that collects the vintage collection, as far as I'm concerned, wants, you know, the original Kenner figures in modern examples in the vintage collection. And we all know lots are missing. You were saying about your Facebook group, one of the guys there talks about that. I've done videos before on the missing figures of each, you know, of that 96 basically.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what they revealed. Let me just I'll share my screen again.
And you know, I'd like to say that, you know, as you're sharing, you know, I think it was awesome that we got a lot of reveals, right? So
yeah.
That's really the positive of it, was we got you know, 5 reveals plus 2 pipeline figures that we can talk about. But I think that was great to just, I think a lot of us were going into this thinking we're just going to see these 2 rumored figures, and it was great to get more than that. So I got to give them credit for listening to us there and being able to give us a lot more reveals.
No, Bill, I did not like the carbon. I didn't like the carbonized figures. No.
Oh, so Chris is saying they've had
that since the Power Droid. Okay. Yeah. I don't remember seeing it before, I must admit, the complete the 96 thing. But they did say last year that this year they would be, you know, putting a few of them out there, which was also, you know, very good to hear. I'm not too happy with the execution of it, though. If I'm honest, I'm gonna have a little moan now, because obviously, as you say, it's all positive that we got the reveals and they are doing it, which is great. So, you know, props to them for that. But I'm not happy on two things really. There's one, these original 96 figures shouldn't be exclusives. They should just be in the line, as far as I'm concerned. They shouldn't be, you know, a hassle to get. Basically, they should just be there, or as many as you want. And I don't like that they've made. I know it's the 50th year of Lucasfilm and it's tying it all into that, but I don't see why you couldn't have had something about the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm on the back of the card, for example, or Wade Customs. Let me just show you this, because I grabbed this.
Oh, great! I'm glad you grabbed it.
Let me see if I can find it. It might be right at the bottom. Okay, so it's not in there.
Kenny,
I will grab. I will get it. But he's basically. Here we go. Yeah. I will share this now.
I do like the idea of the sticker on the blister. That's what I think he had. A couple different examples, right?
This one here. Can everyone see that? Yeah.
Nice.
So this is what I envisaged even before we knew that the 50th Lucasfilm would the vintage collection would be included in that sort of campaign, if you like. I envisaged that they did it like this, or even a sticker on the card, like like one of the offer stickers that we used to get. But because of what they've been doing with that Mando figure and I think it's a Sith Trooper build-up pack, having that sort of sunburst sticker on the bubble, I think would look so much better. And I know you've got the 4+ thing in the corner, but they've just moved it anyway. So And now, now you've got that warning thing down at the bottom as well, which I hadn't actually noticed because they've had to move that to accommodate the 4 Plus on the right hand side.
People pointed out that this is pretty much the Black Series design for their 40th.
Yeah,
so they put that warning right under the Kenner logo.
It's like, you know, that figure next to, I don't know, one of the Ewoks or your biker scout or one of the rebel troop commandos or whatever, because that's how I display mine. I sort of have them in sort of like what's going on in the film order. You know, that 50th anniversary Lucasfilm thing is just going to stick out like a sore thumb. And I know it's not a big thing, but to me it is, like, when it's so easy just to like put a sticker on it, you know, instead. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I think there's a large group of collectors out there that the card art is it's sacrilegious to them, and you know, it's got to abide by certain a clean look to that card. And I mean, first and foremost, I think it's really cool that they're including TVC and some of their other things that they're celebrating. Right, because I feel like Black Series has gotten a lot of that, and we haven't. And I know our line is the whole celebration of the collection and the toy line. So why celebrate anything? But I think it's pretty cool to have it there, but it's not in a desirable spot. I do like the idea of using it as a sticker, and if you don't. A lot of people with the offer stickers, a lot of people didn't like the offer sticker, so they just peeled them off.
Yeah.
So they had their cleaner card. That gives you that opportunity. If you don't like that, you can either take it off the card or take it off the blister or bubble. So
I just think it's like another example of, like, I don't want to be too hard on them, because as you say, like, I'm pleased that they're doing something for an anniversary. We talked about this on last week's show with Jason, like, I was having a bit of a moan about the fact that they didn't do anything for The Empire Strikes Back. So how likely is it they're going to do anything for Rogue One? You know, next to no chance. So I'm glad, first and foremost, I'm glad that they are doing it. But I just think it's like somebody there must sit there and go, they won't like that. You know what I mean? If they knew the line, if someone there actually knew, I don't know, had the brain of a collector, for example, I don't know, really knew the fans, they would say they won't like that. We should try and find another way of accommodating it. Now, it might be the fact that obviously Lucasfilm are involved. They want to really sort of pronounce that and whatever, and it's all, they want it in some kind of symmetry with as you say, with the Black Series and all the other things. And that might be the reason. And then obviously we can't really do anything about it. But I just think it was a bit of an odd choice, to say the least.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a data visualization designer. So, everything we do is to make data and metrics be the center of your attention with a dashboard and a report, right? And you don't want any of the background or the structure of the dashboard to draw your eyes, right? Like certain headers or certain fonts or colors. And when I look at this, you're kind of drawn to certain things. Like I'm drawn to that warning label in some ways. I don't know why. But stuff like that, it's just like, but at the end of the day, it was a pleasant surprise to see this figure announced.
It is one of those things where they would probably go, oh, they're moaning again. They're just moaning. They just don't stop moaning, and that probably is true. But at the end of the day, we are the customer, and I do believe in knowing your customers. So and making your customers happy. So that's that. Anyway, if anyone's in the stream that doesn't know who does these customs, his name's Wade. I think he changed his Instagram. It used to be star.wars.custom or vintage, something like that. But I think it is it just now Wade.customs, I think. You'll be able to find him. You'll be able to find him on Instagram. Would you mind looking that up for me?
Yeah, Wades.customs.
Wades.customs. There you go. So check him out on Instagram. He posts up, ones that have never been made before, ones that could be improved. And I'm always using his images for my thumbnails and things like that. He's great. He's been doing it a long time.
Yeah, and if I can say too, if anyone's listening from Hasbro, the warning sticker would be great if that was like or the label, whatever, the printed. It'd be great if that was a sticker again, because sometimes some of us collectors wouldn't mind just peeling that thing off. And I got to give a shout out to Corey, our admin. He's a huge fan of this, as many people are, of the Star Wars card. And when that covers the Hildebrandt logo, it's just a travesty. You want to see, there's only a couple figures that don't have that warning label covering it when it's just the Star Wars, A New Hope kind of. And it'd be great if we could easily remove that.
It's just when they have small chokeable, it's about choking, isn't it? So when it's like or something, it doesn't have it because there's no
exactly
small part,
R2. There was some error cards too, like the Euro card for Chewbacca. There was some that made it through without the warning label. Afra is a highly sought after one, Dr. Afra, without that warning
oh really
sticker. So if you got it, put that.
I've got loads of Afras because they were like, at one point they were like £3.75 in the Entertainer, and here's what
we're gonna do. You're gonna put one aside for me that has that, please.
Because over here we had the bits of paper in them. You see,
yes,
and that was the warning. So because I actually prefer the ones that haven't got the dirty big bit of paper in them. They used to fold them so nicely, but since the vintage collection came back, like sometimes it's massive, and it's just.
I was gonna say it. Yeah, it like wraps around the bottom of the. I have a few of the single name cards. Yeah. Okay,
I'll be on the lookout for one that doesn't have that then.
Yeah, it's highly sought after. But yeah, I have some of the single name cards of I think you guys had like 10 or 11 figures that we got, bilingual or trilingual, or probably English and French names on them.
They don't do that anymore, though, do they? Have you noticed? Like,
yeah,
it's just English now, and really much bigger as well. They don't do it anymore.
It's all like
on the back, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm happy about that. No offense to any of our French friends or anything, but I wanted how it looked again back in the Kenner days. So
it makes it cleaner looking as well, doesn't it? Less cluttered and things like that. So right. Let's.
If I could say about him, so yeah, a lot of people are very happy about the ATST driver. Is that what we're going to talk about, or do you want to talk about something else?
No. Okay, I'm just uploading I'm just going to share the actual images now.
Oh, cool. But yeah, I think the fan reaction, it was very well received. The figure itself, I think some of the ways to get him right now, right, is there was a Black Series 3.75 inch ATST walker with one of those that went to discount at one point. If you want to get the 2-pack, those can be in the States, like I think $50 to $70.
Yeah,
maybe more. And I'm kind of getting into customizing, and I know a lot of people in the customizing community like the any figure that has the what's he wearing there? Would you call that his overalls or
overalls?
And like Brock Starsher, the Imperial Scanning Crew member, all of those are very desirable from a customizing standpoint. So that's another great collector segment to get excited, right? Is the people that like to do that type of stuff. So they'll do well with this one, and it's hopefully going to be easy to get.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like you say they'll do well with this one. It's like if people can find it, you know. Hopefully you won't have the same issues. But
and I know he came in a couple different ways. So there was, you know, the helmet with the goggles on it, actually fixed on it, like he has, right? Where, and then there was also one that came with the goggles where you can remove them.
Right. There was two figures. Yeah, obviously 2 in the 2-pack. They were slightly different from each other, weren't they? So what was this? The one that was repacked in the
their heads were their heads were different.
Yeah.
I got this one came from the one with the separate goggles came in I think a Toys R Us battle pack of some sort. But I know on the back of let me pull this out real quick. Yeah, one's a driver and one's a gunner.
Yeah. Yes, this one's the Richard Marquand one, isn't it? So, here we go. John Ling. Yeah, so he
there you go.
The Richard Marquand one was so I thought this was the one that was in the ATST. It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing I would critique with this guy is I wish, because they kind of they went through these figures and they made some tweaks to, you know, Paplu and Leia that we'll talk about. The only, I guess, critique I would have is I wish the visor or the goggles was like a more of a transparent type of goggle that you could see kind of his you know, his face sculpt through them or something like that. Not sure what you think.
Yeah, no, it's a look, you know, when we're talking about the obviously we're going to come on to Leia and Pap Matt in a minute, or Lulu, but you know, when you think of the ATST driver, you know they're not going to make a new figure. This is, you know, they're just going to stick one of those on the card, so it's inevitable they would have done that. And you know, I'm happy with just to get it in the vintage collection, essentially. You know, I can't be too critical of it.
Looks like someone's.
There's no way you would expect them to make an all new figure for the ATST driver when this one will pretty much do. You know.
Yep. Looks like someone's giving me a little shout out for the cabinet. Thanks, Darren, man. If you have any questions, let me. You can certainly ping me on Facebook or.
That's a great cabinet. What are you going to do when when there's too many figures to go in?
I know. I don't know if I could probably put another cabinet across from it. We'll cross that bridge when I get there. I don't know how many more I can cram in there, but I will definitely have enough room through probably 210. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens there.
Right. Let's talk about this guy, because I know you wanted to talk about this guy. So on the stream, Patrick, is it Eric, the other guy? Eric's the designer, right? Patrick's for anyone that doesn't know in the chat, I'm sure you do, but Patrick's the marketing guy, and Eric is one of the designers. So I think it was him that was describing this figure, and he said it's all new staff, all new knife, re-sculpted headdress with the feather, and then when I can't remember what he said about the figure, but I thought, when I looked at it, I thought that doesn't look, or especially the bottom half of it, doesn't look like the Paplu that I have. And this, I didn't even notice the head. And I did my video and I put it out there and I said, it's great, we're getting another Ewok in the line. That's brilliant. And then obviously, as you start to look a bit deeper into it. And I think I remember saying in the Instagram chat that we've got, the group that we've got, saying it's just Lumat repainted. And the most disappointed thing with it is that they've changed the head, so they've kept Lumat's head rather than, you know, getting the head off the Legacy Collection one or something. So he hasn't got his teeth. I know that you're particularly not well. Are you annoyed?
I am. I mean, look, you know, I'm thrilled to have this the card back checked off, and I care first and foremost about the figure. And you know, obviously the figure has more articulation than the old the Legacy one, right? He's got ball jointed elbows. But I thought I first heard that he had a new head, but going back, it was like, oh, he said new hood. And it was once we got the Litsky photos and I was going through those and I was like, oh my God, that's even Lumat's head.
Yeah.
And, you know, I started going down the road of putting all three side by side and looking at them. And it almost, because they painted the eyes fully black and then just painted it a little differently, it looks deceiving that it might not be, but it's the same figure. And it's, you know, it's kind of got like this puckered lips look.
And I just want to address what they're saying in the chat about.
Yeah, go ahead.
Some people are going, well, they've got the card wrong. They've got the card wrong. But in actual fact, that is the card that they use. I've got the original one up there. So that mistake was always there. The Romba image was the same Ewok on both cards. The Paplu one was just slightly zoomed out a bit more. But it was then Paplu, the Ewok from the film, was never actually on a card back, like the picture of him, you know. So it never matched, but I'm sure the guys know that. But sorry to interrupt. But
no, that's a good point.
I like that because I like the cock-ups, if you want to say, in the original Kenner line being carried forward. I like that.
See, then there's two camps. There's that camp, and then there's the camp that wants them fixed, right? So we'll talk about Chris. Chris will say, if he was here, that, you know, back in TVC 1.0, Daryl DePriest and them, it was about fixing the mistakes. And maybe they should have updated it to Paplo on the card. Again, I have a carded collection and I have a loose collection. I'm going to keep going back to
Chris.
A figure.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, I'm helping your camp out. I'm representing.
Okay, then what about that? They keep that one, but then they do like a variant chase where, I know this is going to get into the realms of like exclusives and stuff again, but for the collectors, like, I don't know, just have like a variant, like they do with the Yak Face. I love that there's 2 cards of Yak Face. I think that's brilliant. They should do more of that.
There's complete the 96 and fix the 96.
Yeah. Because one of the things, like, there's no denying that the Imperial Royal Guard, the image that they've got on that in TVC is lovely. It's bright. It's from the film, but it's not the original one. And I like the original one. I like both, but I would like to see that original Royal Guard card in the vintage collection. But you know,
can you highlight Chad Peak's fact comment?
No legacy figures have surfaced yet to be reused or resold in any way.
And that's interesting. I think the only one that is legacy, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong, was the Hoth Rebel Trooper from the first wave of TVC 2.0. Wasn't he legacy? Or did he come in?
The Hoth Rebel Trooper?
Yeah.
Oh, what the Echo Bait? Oh, yes, I know the one you mean. Yeah, sorry, yeah. In the first wave of 2.0, yeah, he was. It's a kit bash, wasn't it? That was very, very similar. Yeah.
It might have been one of the lines right along all of that. I forget, but might be the only one from around that era, at least. And we can talk more about that too when we dive into.
Yeah, but sorry, I interrupted you about Romba and the card. Carry on with the figure.
I guess it's just if. First of all, I don't know if you can go to like some of the comparisons that I sent you, but it was obviously Kenny Baker played Paplu, and just looking at these, he was a smaller dwarf.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said this to you before we came on. Like, Paplu historically in the vintage line isn't as small as Wicket, but he is smaller than Low Grey and Chief Sherpa and all those guys. He is noticeably smaller, and obviously, if they've just repainted Lumat, then he's going to be a full size Ewok, isn't he?
Yeah, and I know they're gonna reuse the bodies and stuff like that, which isn't a travesty. I think when you look at this picture here, where it's the legacy one, where he's kind of making like a wincing face, maybe he's exerting himself or something, and then you look at our one where he's lining up to give you a sweet little smoochie.
He's an Instagram girl, isn't he? He's pouting.
Yeah, he's like the Zoolander of the Ewoks. And then you have the new Black Series one, which I'm sure him and Tebow share the same, body parts, but he's got kind of a more, realistic expression, I guess I could say, and doesn't look all Care Berry.
Yeah, showing a bit of teeth, isn't he?
Yeah, it could be painted a little better, but it's just like, again, the hood is amazing. The new paint deco, the paint deco wash on his body.
Yeah. But
at the end of the day, I would have rather they used Wicket and then put a new head on him or something.
Yeah, because I think the Wicket figure for Vintage Collection isn't that small. I don't think it's certainly not like the original Kenner one in comparison to the other Ewoks. I mean, I'm looking at Lumat now, and once you have that Lumat in hand, he is quite small. Wicket is smaller, but he's not. I don't think he's that much smaller. So he probably would have passed as if they'd used the Wicket body. You can see the two there that we've got there. They're the same figure basically.
Yeah, it is the same. I mean, it could be a little deceiving because of paint applications, but it's pretty much the same figure. And again, happy he's coming into the line. I just wish, at the very least, give us a new head sculpt, like you said. And there he is, And again, he was played by an iconic person, an iconic actor in the films. So
I've just noticed we have a guest in that I need to bring on. So basically, guys that's watching, I originally invited Victoria from Victoria's Canteen onto this stream as well, but she was recording her podcast, so she couldn't basically be here for the beginning. So I didn't want to sort of like advertise that she would be on here or whatever, just in case she couldn't turn up. But she is here now, so I'm just going to bring her in. If I can work out how to do it. Here we go. Hi there, how are you doing?
I'm looking for Bosk. Is he here?
Nice.
How's it going, guys?
Yeah, good. Thanks. You?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on here. It's great to see you guys.
Yeah, you've probably been here. We're just having our day, our moan as per usual.
Yeah, of course. It wouldn't be a typical Bosk Bounty chat without that.
Zing. That's terrible. I was branding us all Star Wars fan moaners, not just me. But yeah, I'll let you have that one. Oh dear. So what time is it over there now?
Right now, it's just after 3 o'clock, I think.
All right, you had a good day then, yeah?
Yeah, just wrapped up Cantina Chatter. I had four of my contributors on in one episode. We were doing the live stream. We were doing, well, not the live stream, but the video for the YouTube video. And yeah, it was a blast. Really looking forward to everybody hearing it.
You put those on YouTube, don't you? The Cantina Chatter ones.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyone in the chat that's listening, Victoria's obviously got her own YouTube channel, of course. Everyone knows that, and she's also got Cantina Chatter podcast, and you've also started the Vintage Collection podcast, helping us push home to Hasbro that this community is huge, and we're all banging the same drum. And that podcast can be found on pretty much every podcast platform going, right?
Everywhere. Audible, Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Podomatic. Anywhere you get a podcast, you'll be able to access Cantina Chatter and Vintage Collection podcast.
Awesome. Okay, so am I still sharing a screen? What is that? So Victoria, quickly, because obviously we've just been talking about the 50th Lucasfilm reveals. What's your overall thoughts on packaging and the logo and the 3 reveals?
Well, I certainly hope that that's a sticker and it's not printed on there.
It looks printed.
It does look printed on. Oh my goodness. Yeah, sticker on the bubble would have been preferable. I mean, it's nice to see some of these characters. Leia Endor is the most disappointing to me. That's a tool from 2007, which, there are older sculpts that do hold up. But this, I think anytime you're dealing with a main character, a prominent character, anything that's original 96 needs to be definitive, because we don't know if we're going to ever get it again. And Black Series just got one, and I feel like this is what would have been the ripe opportunity to finally nail that figure in the scale. So that makes me a little sad. The other ones I'm good with.
Yeah. Let's take a quick look at Leia. So again, when this was first announced, it's like, right, let's make a video about it and just sort of report on what's being released and whatever, and just but then again, it's only until afterwards you really start looking at it, you're thinking, hang on a minute, that's okay, it's got a nice new colored poncho, I guess, different colored poncho, new helmet, new head sculpt, and some would say that that's probably enough to say that's a nice new figure. But as it transpires, obviously underneath that poncho is, as you say, a pretty old sculpt.
Yeah, the soft goods are so baggy. She still has the incorrect gun. It's the details, and on this, I mean, yeah, just that image that you're showing there, it's just that soft goods. It looks like she's wearing like a rug or something. It's huge. She looks like a flying squirrel. It shouldn't be like that. It should obviously it should conform a lot better. And there's ways to do that. Again, the Black Series looks fantastic, and that would have been a perfect sculpt to utilize for this particular release. So it really bums me out, but that's the way it goes sometimes.
Tim, can you go back to the card one?
Yeah,
it looks, because it's in the bubble, right?
Yeah.
It looks a little more, the poncho looks a little more, not as baggy and flying squirrel-esque.
So just don't open it.
Not possible. It's I just didn't think they were going to go this far back and source the tooling for these things. So that's really interesting that they were able to find this stuff. I mean, some people, if you've watched any of the ZBrush summits, Paul Bennett talked about how, a tooling can cost up to $100,000 and they're made of steel and they rust. So you're going back how many years? 2006, 2007, right? That's
2007.
13, 14 years. And it's crazy that they still were able to source this stuff out, period.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
I do love the split bubble. I'm a fan of that.
Yeah.
So the carded collector in me Again, I love the loose stuff, but the carded collector in me is like, ooh, a split bubble again. So exciting.
Yeah, it's just again, I've got that one as a vintage figure, and it's
Oh, cool.
it's split back then as well, you know. So when they did it with Leia Bouche or Bausch, however you want to say it, yeah, I was over the moon when they do things like that. So
Does it have a Lucasfilm 50th logo on it?
no, obviously. I wish it did though, because then it'd match this one.
Right.
Oh man, I'm not going to get over this 50th anniversary thing. I mean,
yeah. So we were saying, Victoria, that it's nice to like, you know, that TVC is kind of being considered in some of these promotional campaigns or, you know, whatever celebrations that they have. But, you know, obviously the way they've put it on the card wasn't ideal. So it's nice to be thought of, but kind of a half-assed way to put it out there.
Right.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if we weren't included, if the vintage collection wasn't included in it, we'd be kicking off. You know, so the fact that they have is a good thing. But you know, as I said, it just comes down to the execution, and somebody somewhere there must have gone. You know, they're not gonna go for that. But sometimes what comes out of them is, you know, you just beggars belief, really. But
Yep.
So
we got a new head, right? And
yeah.
Some people are saying it's could be the Black Series one leveraged, which I'm totally for that. You know, at the end of the day, if you have a design that's good, leverage it. They're still going to have to make the tooling on it and spend the money on the tooling.
Just be sure you leverage the other 90% of the figure.
Yeah. And you have the Hot Toys version, right? And that one's got everything to the T, right? Say the correct blaster and yeah. It's tough because you we have this this budget and this all of where we're gonna spread all of this budget out, what we're gonna do with it. So it comes down to where do we focus that energy, right? And you know, I see what you're saying, Victorian, that you know it's a main character. It's a vintage, it's actual Kenner figure. They should take precedence. But then what does that mean for other things in the line that we could get another new figure or, you know what I mean? So it's always that catch-22 of where those decisions are made. And if, you know, is it worth losing out on maybe a character debut or something else? It's tough.
Right, for sure.
So I love Return of the Jedi. So
and I was saying to my mate Nick, Only One Kenobi, just earlier today speaking to him on the phone, and this to me like paves the way for Luke. I think we'll get a Luke one of these pretty soon because they're repacking the Han, which nobody wants. They're doing the Leia, and I don't know. Because we've got Luke Jedi and the Endor Escape one's not too bad. It's got a new head and whatever. I can see them giving us, and then that worries me a little bit because the one you've got there is like, will they go that far back to give us a lot of that as well?
So yeah, I took the new Luke
and put his poncho on.
I put his old poncho on for maybe was it the Saga collection?
Yeah.
And then I used his belt from the Sandstorm Luke, the TVC Sandstorm Luke, and then like swapped out his hand and the old helmet. But pretty easy kit bash for them to do. Yeah.
Because I think if they do that, then they'll hopefully give us a speeder bike. and then they could just paint it white and give us the speeder bike and the Mandalorian. You know, there's all sorts of possibilities that they could do just from giving us this figure and the hand. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Can you see them doing that, giving us Luke?
I can see them. Yeah, I don't know.
Go ahead.
No, yeah, no, I can. I don't think they would resurrect a Luke from that long ago. But
No,
I didn't think that about this Leia either, and here she is. So, but you know, I know they have a perfect new Luke they could utilize. Now, hopefully, when that does come, it'll be that new sculpt with an updated poncho. You know, more tailored. Yeah, because even that one you have there.
it's not too
John
bad.
it's not as bad as the Leia one. It's a newer figure slightly, I think, but that's not. It's 2006. It's older, so it's interesting how that works.
Yeah, they've definitely given us a lot of Lukes that have, for the most part, hit the mark, right? With the X-wing fighter Luke, the Jedi Knight Luke, the Stormtrooper, and then obviously there was the Kit Bash for the Yavin ceremony where they did some small tweaks there. Here's hoping. And I mean, some of these, I was going to bring up the whole, you know, I think the Black Series has like 6 different card backs, and it would be great for some of these that made it to a Power of the Force card to have the Power of the Force card as well.
Yeah,
as like a chase card or a Walmart exclusive.
yeah.
Just kidding.
That's why I like Paploo is on that card, because a lot of people call them the last 17, but it's not. It's the last 15, because Paploo and Lumat were on Jedi cards before they went on the Power of the Force. So they kind of are last 17, but really it's the last 15. So I'm glad that Paploo is on a Jedi card. But you're right. If, you know, when they start doing last 17, unless they've done one already, Luke Stormtrooper, they didn't put him on a Power of the Force card. It would be nice to do that. I mean, I do quite like that Yak Face is kind of the only one, and it was exclusive to the barge. But once you see it looking glorious like that, it would be nice to get, like, I don't know, like a man or something on a Power of the Force card. Be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'd love to see a nice little subline of the Power of the Force cards. I mean, I think it's a good way to sell more figures, because a lot of people want both cards. So,
yeah. And I think I said it on the last stream as well about the alternative image cards. That's, you know, the Gunner Luke, for example, when they finally give us a new Farm Boy Luke, I think they should give us it on the original card, because you need that definitive Luke on the original card. But then you've got the Gunner Luke card, which was also back in the vintage Kenner days, and it'd be nice to have that as well. So, you know, have like a variant out there that, you know, you can get if you want. Not everyone has to buy it, because loose collectors might only want the one, but carded collectors, I think it'd be pretty cool.
That would be neat.
There's not so many, but there's like 5 or 6. There's Chewie, Leia Bespin, Vader we've already got on the alt cards, so that's a good one. Yoda's got an alt card where he's facing the other way. So yeah, nice.
I don't have many, but I have the Chewbacca and the Yoda.
That's quite a clear bubble for him as well. He's hard to get with a clear bubble, that one.
Yeah, it's a little dinged, but
is it yellow at all?
No.
See, that Jedi Yoda is really hard to get with no yellowing bubble. That's a nice example.
A little bit of a crunch, but
yeah, man, looks good.
I love the alt cards.
Have you ever been into those, Victoria? Have you ever sort of delved into like, they're really pricey these days, but yeah, have you ever done that? You're not bothered?
Carded? No, not carded vintage. No, I have some loose ones.
Yeah,
I don't know where it came from, but as a kid, I had Forlom / Zuckus. It's one or the other, without the vinyl on it. I don't know where this figure came from, but I have that one from my childhood, that one vintage Star Wars figure. And then I had the Tauntaun too. So I was really into dinosaurs as a kid, like, you know, and I still am, but I really loved dinosaurs. And my grandmother and I had this tradition. We'd go to the flea markets like every Saturday morning and look for dinosaurs. And sometimes she would go alone and she'd bring stuff back. So one day she comes back with, I guess she thought it was a dinosaur, but she comes back with a vintage Tauntaun.
Awesome.
And yeah, so that's how that ended up in my home.
Yeah, the vintage stuff's quality. I mean, there's no getting away from it. Where it all started, isn't it? So
yeah,
I need a Tauntaun actually. I've been after one of those. I've got a dewback and what have you, but I would love a vintage. I had one as a kid, but you know, since I've started to try and build out my vintage Kenner stuff, yeah, Tauntaun's on the list, definitely.
nice.
I need some more of them.
Sorry,
I need some more of them too. I have probably a couple handfuls of the Kenner figures and need to get back what I had as a child. I love it.
yeah, I've been on a bit of a mission the last couple of years trying to do it, and some of the prices are just becoming a joke, you know.
Well, funny story, Tim, is, you know, like I told you, I got my mom's from England originally, and I know I've talked to Victoria about that too. I went on a 3-week summer trip to England back in 2000, and I went to quite a few different car boots, as you guys call them out there.
Yeah,
and so much vintage toys. It was like, here's your World War II items, and here's toys. And was able to buy a lot of different stuff. I wish I bought more stuff. And then went to a couple different vintage toy shops back then. I don't remember the names of them. But in talking with Steve Evans, he actually was familiar with the area, Harlow, Essex, where my family is living. And he was like, you know, we were probably nudging elbows at one point at a couple car boots, because I used to go to all those around there when I was working in that area. So that was a good time, and I couldn't believe the amount of vintage toys out there, and just how easy it was to go to flea markets and different like those car boots were pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously they're not happening at the moment because of the pandemic and what have you, but you can still find, you know, the odd trinket or whatever of vintage Star Wars at car boots. You can stumble across it. I mean, I did a video not so long ago where my boss at work, she bought this house, like a little secondary house to like do up, and then it was basically sold as seen. So everything in the house they had to get rid of, but they went up in the loft and they had like all these boxes of toys, and there was Star Wars and He-Man and Action Force, G.I. Joe. You know, it's really good. Like going, and she like asked me to go through it, sort of see if there's anything worth sort of, you know, selling on eBay or whatever. And a lot of it was junk and broken and what have you, but there was some nice pieces in there. So yeah, I can't wait for boot fairs to start again, just to go around and see what you can find.
I wish I could go back and tell myself, just buy more of the carded vintage stuff.
Don't we all?
Right? I was like buying all the loose ones. Half were like broken or messed up. And it's like, oh, what are you doing? Wow.
Yeah, my mate, on YouTube, the blacked out Ewoks, he's got like an unbelievable collection, and he often like shows them on Instagram, like, yeah, I bought this one in 1992 for 30 quid or whatever, and it's now worth you're like, oh, yeah, he's got all these like foreign cards and, you know, Italian Harbert cards, and his collection's amazing. But yeah, I used to have a load of really good like mint on card Action Force stuff, which was like the British G.I. Joe. I had a load of it, and I sold it all in when I had to buy a house.
Yeah.
Well, now it's worth a load.
Oh, is it? It kind of went up in the same type of value. Oof.
Yeah, not as much as Star Wars. Some of it is, you know, some of the pieces, it's like anything, isn't it? Some of it's rarer than others. But yeah, I lost a lot of money on that, really. So,
I at times think about selling my carded collection for TVC. Someone was sending me it was Augustin from our Facebook group. He was sending us photos of eBay completed sales for the TVC 1.0 Ahsoka, and they're selling for like $600, $700, $800. Some of them are graded, and I don't know how reliable it is ungraded for that price, but a couple were selling for that. And it's like the market's just going insane for a lot of C 1.0 stuff.
I saw something earlier today, actually, on eBay, and it was Aura Singh. Now, this is a £40, £50 tops figure all the way. So maybe $60, $70 or something. You know, that's top whack. And with like 6 hours to go on the auction, it was up to £147. And I thought, the world has gone mad if that figure's going for £147. And it's really weird because the same seller had sold, you know, Cody for 175, and I thought, you know, okay, Cody, whatever, but or a thing, £147. You're kidding me. Any new collectors stuffed, aren't they? If they want to go back and get those.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was looking at foil cards in the fall, like September, and some of them were going for a lot, like $100. I think Cody was like around 100. Grievous and Sidious were around 80, 90. But then I looked at them the other night, and now they're like 120, 130. It's just like, it's crazy how quickly these prices continue to go up.
Yeah, and it hasn't stopped either with the pandemic and everyone's on lockdown. They might have a bit more money to spend. They're not spending on petrol and all this kind of stuff. And you know, they're starting a new hobby or whatever. It's like, on board, let's start collecting these. And a lot of people have got money that are impatient, and that just drives the price up. But I thought it'd plateau, but it hasn't, because the first lockdown it was going absolutely mental, and now it's going even worse. I just want to read this out, guys. Thanks, Salacious. The monkey lizard community would like a TVC Salacious B Crumb reissue and a TVC Pilf Muck Muck, please. Legends in our community, back TVC. Thanks for the super chat, mate. Appreciate that, man. I hope they don't re-release that bloody Salacious Crumb. I haven't had that long.
Yeah, you just got yours graded, right?
They're off to be graded.
Oh,
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
I paid a fair whack for those, so you know.
Yeah. I was gonna say, Victoria, I had a few of the foil cards, and I was like, do I want to complete these? And I was like, nah. So I kept Boba Fett because I love Boba Fett, as you guys know, and I got rid of Grievous and Sidious, and I was like, whatever. That's like the only part of my collection I really don't have. A couple vehicles. So.
The only one that I found at retail was the Anakin, the VC-13 with the foil. It's the only one that I ever found in stores from that promotion, the Galactic Hunt.
See, I was more of a loose collector then, so I was like, I don't need these. These are just these are repacks. I don't need them. And then I started chasing them a year or two ago, and then I was like, you know what? I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I've got a foil Magna Guard, but I haven't got the normal Magna Guard, and I'd prefer to have the normal one. So now I'm going to get swathes of people saying, I'll swap you, you know. But,
I ended up chasing all of those unpunched, which was very hard. So the unpunched Magna Guard, unpunched Cody, unpunched Anakin, the VC-13 Anakin, and the VC-13 Darth Vader. So those are up there. and rarity and price. So I guess sometimes you got to pick where you're going to focus, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was just trying to find something, actually. Do you have a Canadian Yoda? That's what I was trying to find. Oh, he's up there.
I don't have him here with me. He's
what
downstairs.
What am I asking you that? Of course you've got one.
Yeah.
You've probably got 3 of them.
I actually found a friend of mine, Frederick from Canada, was like, hey, there's this website still selling them. This was like maybe a year and a half ago, and I was able to buy a couple. They weren't what is it, C9 grade. I was probably a little bit of edging on the side, but I got it for like $60 American. So I couldn't complain with that. But yeah.
Victoria, do you obviously you open them all? Do you collect them all on card as well? Do you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't during the initial run. Except for that Anakin, I opened everything else. I didn't really have the room for it, but now,
Me too.
yes, now I'm strictly, since it came back in 2018, I have been, buying one of each, one to open, one to keep carded, and I've been going back and getting certain ones that I, wish I would have carded the first time. So
Yeah.
I do have several now, but yeah, no, now even the play sets, the vehicle, except for the huge vehicles, like the barge. I only got one barge because I couldn't get a second one. The Falcon from Target, I got one of those, but everything else I try and get two of at least. So.
And you were saying you used to work at Toys R Us, right? Back during the first run. So.
Yeah, in 2008. So that was a Legacy collection.
Legacy run of the Falcon.
Yeah. Yeah, when the first Falcon came out, yes. And I remember seeing it there. They're bringing it into the store. And I was like, oh my God, this thing's $120. I'd love to have that. But I'm working at Toys R Us. So there's that. And I don't have a lot of room for it. So no, I missed it the first time. So Target bringing it back was one of the most amazing things. I'm so glad they did that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I had bought one I don't know, in March of last year, just around when maybe April of last year after COVID hit. And I went, you know what? Someone's selling an opened box one with the box. I'm just going to buy it for $375. And then they release it again. So it's like,
well, that's how it goes sometimes.
Thanks. Oh, look at this. Gary, as John said, where he purchased that awesome display. Good question. So I was talking about earlier, some cool Facebook groups out there. There's like a Star Wars, I forgot what it's called, Star Wars man caves or Star Wars rooms. Saw somebody post a cabinet similar to this, but with all of their Kenner figures, and getting some good guidance from them, and seeked out a custom cabinet maker and had them build out the cabinet. And then a person on Facebook, I think it's Action Figure Displays, made the vinyl. So the racetrack is all one 70 by 36 inch vinyl. And then I had them put on the TVC vinyl, the Hildebrand, and then there's a Kenner logo on the bottom you can't see. But
yeah, it's fantastic. And is it have you got it chopped into the wall, set back into the wall? Is it flush on the wall? Because it looks,
a lot of people
your camera's deceiving. Is it sticking out somewhat, or?
Yeah, it's got about 6 inches of depth. And they used a French cleat, which is like an angle a board on an angle they put on the wall, and then an angle matching it where it basically hinges on top of it as you mount it. And it's got Lexan glass, which Lexan is pretty expensive right now, so I paid a lot extra for the Lexan. But I would say probably cost me around $1,200 to put that together. So
fair amount, but it's
it
looks great, doesn't it? So
I think we all get to a point where, I know Victoria and I were talking about this, where you have this collection, you want to display it, you want to do right by it, and I wanted to focus on TVC in one aspect. And when I saw this, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. My buddy Jeff actually put the blister colors behind every one of his Kenner figures.
Yeah, I've seen people do that. Yeah,
which is beautiful. But I'm running into a space issue, as we were talking about earlier, where I have to cram them together. They're nudging each other's shoulders, and probably only going to.
My friend Mark's, he's got it all yellow, so it's like the back of a Kenner card,
Oh, that's a great idea. I could do that.
With the racetrack, it looks great. But yeah, I've seen the ones with all the different, the things behind the figures. there's a guy on Facebook at the moment that's doing the rounds on the like vintage Star Wars groups that's doing custom cabinets, and I think they worked out to be about £450 each or something, which, you know, it's not to be sniffed at. It's quite a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things, when you see the work that goes into it, I think he put a few videos of how they were made and what have you, and they're all got lights in them, and you know, so the quality's there. So, and as you say, you spend all this money on the collection, you might as well display it. Right.
Yeah. My wife was very supportive, and I forgot who I was saying this to, but even my father, he was over, and he was after I was speaking with the guy to design it, he was like, I would like to contribute, and he threw in a little money to support our hobbies that they supported many years ago by buying them for us. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right. So each week we have a theme, and Victoria's not going to be privy to this theme, so she might have to think quick if you want to join in. But this we have what did we go for in the end, John? We went for character or costume debuts. You want 3 figures that you want in the vintage collection that have never been made before. So it can be another character, but in a different outfit or whatever, or a whole new character that's never been made. In 3.75, so obviously, you know, the vintage collection, if you're just counting that, it'd be too easy. So
so I guess we were saying like 3.75 super articulated form, character debut, or scene specific debut.
Yeah.
So I gotta bring up my list here. So 1 second. We'll let Victoria mull that over for a minute.
Any character that's never been in TVC.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Any debut. Okay.
All right. I am ready when you are, Bosk.
You go first.
Okay. All right. So my first one. So look, you know, we all can probably write down 50 figures right now that we want, and probably 75% of them would be new characters, right? So I chose to do a troop builder. I did all tertiary or non-primary characters. And I did a troop builder, like a bounty hunter goon, and an alien. So I tried to mix it up because I don't want to pick all humans. I don't want to pick all, you know, Jabba goons, because I would.
So let me just get the rules straight again. So like, if I can't choose Hammerhead because he's been done, right, in 3 3/4.
Right. I don't know if that's super articulated.
Right. Okay.
So I don't know. What do you think, Victoria, on that one? That's a good one. I don't think
because I was sort of thinking about like characters that have just never been done. So for example, the Tonica sisters, Bo-Katan, for example, is another one.
Correct.
Hope I'm not ruining your choices here. But then there's like, you know, obviously Leia has been done, but you might want her in X outfit, or, you know, there might be another female character from another show, etc. That's how I was kind of thinking it.
Yeah, I guess you could say, you know, like, for example, is it the Ewok Celebration? What's that outfit she wore? What's the label on that one? That was never really done in super articulated form, right? So maybe that one could qualify. We can make it flexible.
Okay, go on then. Who's your first?
So my first one, I feel like, is one that's kind of missed when we talk about the Mandalorian, that I think would sell a lot of figures, and that would be the Death Watch Mandalorian.
Yeah,
I would like that one, and I think it would do great for the line for that reason. People would troop build it, and it would constantly just keep being reproduced.
Yeah, I'm not a Hot Toys person, but when I saw that, I was like, ooh, I might want to buy that.
Yeah, that hurt.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered it. Oops. Victoria, did you pre-order?
Not that one, not yet.
Not yet. Waiting for some rewards to come in.
I can't go down that rabbit hole. You know, I can't do it. I've got too many other things I need to buy. Have you thought of one yet, or do you want me to go, Victoria?
I have one that's very obvious. In fact, you mentioned it. Yeah, I don't know if it counts as one or two, but there's two Tonica sisters that desperately need to be made, and I know it's very possible for it to happen. In terms of there's a whole backstory behind that, but it can't happen at this point. So those, if anything, it'd have to be one or both of the Tonica sisters. Number one choice, absolutely, 100%.
So just I know you're in contact with the one remaining actress. The other one sadly passed, right? Is that right?
Yes.
So just give it, if you wouldn't mind, just give us what is the, because I don't think Hasbro have ever said they wouldn't do it or they can't, or there is what is the reason that is holding it up?
Yeah. So 15 years ago, Hasbro would have said, we cannot comment on this situation whatsoever. But that's all they would say. They wouldn't go into yes or no or anything like that. I interviewed Angela Staines, who is the remaining Tonica sister, in 2017. And she was on Cantina Chatter, and it was her first interview of any kind regarding Star Wars. She had basically done Star Wars and then kind of just put it in the past. And the way she explained it is, when they did the film, they didn't secure the likeness rights to anybody. That was something they had to do later.
Yeah.
So when they went back to do that, the other sister, Christine Hewitt, and Angela didn't sign the release. Christine eventually did it before she passed. But Angela didn't do it because she felt that they should at least give her some supply of figures, or she should get something for, granting them to use her likeness, which, I understand that. And when I interviewed her, she said, that's kind of in the past. And, if something came along and, they asked me to do it again, I might do it. She came to San Diego in 2018. I met with her and we had coffee and we talked, and she said, what, at this point, if they were to give me that contract, I would just sign it. At this point, she didn't realize how many people wanted those figures. She didn't realize how big those characters were. She hadn't done conventions. She's doing them now, but she hadn't done anything like that. And so essentially that's the story. The ball is in Hasbro's park. They're well aware of it. When I talked to Sam at Comic-Con a couple of years ago, he said that Lucasfilm was aware of her willingness to sign that contract. So it's totally the ball's in their ballpark at this point. It can happen if they allow it to happen. So that's where we're at right now with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was a great story. I really enjoyed listening to that when you sent it to me, because she kind of, well, first of all, like I was telling you, my mom's family came here from England, and that was hers. It was a similar story. There was an influx of people from the UK that migrated to the US, I think in the 60s, 70s. And didn't she kind of get lost for a little while? Like she kind of like had a normal life. And
yeah. So she came with her husband. It was her boyfriend back then. And she tried acting and she went to LA. She tried to do acting. She said it was very difficult and, it wasn't very savory at times. So she kind of gave that up, and they moved out to the wine country of California, and they're doing very well now. She did come over here, and I think it was after Star Wars 79, somewhere around there.
Yeah, that was a great podcast. She made me laugh, and I'd love to hang out with her and have a drink.
Yeah, she's cool.
Yeah, she was cool. She deserves a figure, and her sister.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool.
What do you got? What do you got, Tim?
Well, I'm going to go with the really obvious one. That's never had a figure at all, but it's quite a new property, and that's Blue Leader from Rogue One, guy with the moustache. Yep. For me, it's just like a perfect Star Wars character. I mean, just get him made. Probably got half the parts already. He's a pilot, painting blue.
Anton Merrick, right? Anton
Merrick, yeah. Just get him done. Like I can't, I know a lot of people that I speak to, Nick and what have you. He's a big advocate for that one as well. And
was it Wade? Wade had an amazing custom.
Yeah.
Looked great.
Again, yeah. That's my you know, I want things like Hammerhead and all that. You know, Squid Head is a massive one for me. But you know, when it comes to like never been made before, he's right up there. So he's my first.
Awesome. I'd look forward to that. And I know there's been a campaign for his ship as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, my next one is a very obvious one that I know Bantha Skull has been begging for. And I think a lot of us that buy all these expensive vehicles hope to have some of these figures accompany them. And the prisoner skiff guard is missing one character, right? One figure. And we all know who that is, Velkin Tazeri. I would very much love to have him complete that prisoner skiff, and he could be used for you know, a couple other characters that are very similar looking.
Yeah.
In I had the idea of pulling some of these out to say you could do a carded 3-pack and, you know, include a couple of these. Whoop.
Yep.
In with the carded 3-pack
to get those back out there, yeah.
To cost out the tooling of a tertiary character. So that would be amazing. And I could go through a list of another 20 Jabba's characters I'd love to have.
Yeah, can we all Squidhead.
Yeah. What's his name? Taran Drengaran, whatever his name is, the one that shoots Luke's hand.
Yeah.
So many of those guys and gals from Jabba's court, I would love.
Cool. Victoria?
So this is, I don't know, the sculpt, well, it hasn't been done as a character, I guess, but the sculpt has been done. And this is from the Clone Wars Season 7, Ahsoka's squad of clone troopers with the orange helmet markings, 501st. If they do that, I'd like to see an all-new sculpt for the clone trooper.
Yeah.
I think it's been a bit, so something brand new, but yeah, that iteration of the character I think would be fantastic. I'm
with you 1,000,000% on that, because the thing is with that is that you've instantly got a 501st as well. So without the orange, and if you've got a brand new clone sculpt, then as you say, you know, they're clones. Just give us some, you know, the ones that are pretty poor. Just give us those again. But yeah, I like that Ahsoka Trooper. Very cool.
Yeah, totally.
That's a good one.
Love it.
So I've tried to sort of like mix it up a bit and sort of spread the love around of, you know, not just concentrate on the original trilogy. So I've gone with Kira from Solo, but I want her in when she comes out of the Falcon with the red gown, you know, the red. She just looks amazing in that outfit.
Yes.
And that's just like, again, just like it's just a classic Star Wars figure for me. Like, you could, yeah. We got her in some 5 POAs, didn't we, in various outfits and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think there was one with her. I think it came in like one of those. Did it come in like the Vander set or something, like a 4-pack without the robe? It's kind of like what she's wearing without the cape.
Right.
But I'd want like the full cape and everything. She looked great.
Yeah. That's an awesome pick. I completely agree with you. That I've been wanting that for a long time. So. It's a very obvious one too, and it doesn't even exist in 6-inch. So,
yeah. But the problem with it is that if you do her, then obviously she's going to be missing all her buddies. That's the, you know, so it'll probably be quite a while till we actually get something like that, because then you've kind of got to do at least Beckett, for example, you know. So. But yeah, she's mine. Sorry, John.
No, my bad. I talked over you. My audio cut out for like a minute. Did you say Kira?
Kira with the red cape.
Oh, beautiful.
When when they're on the Kessel mines, isn't it? When she walks out, then with, you know, blasting people. Awesome.
Yeah, and that's Lando's cape she takes, right? I think Victoria and I were talking about this.
Yeah.
you're a big fan of that figure too. We all are. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Love it. She definitely deserves to be in the line. I think we only have, I was looking at all the different media, and I think we have 5 solo figures.
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh man, I think we only have 3 The Force Awakens figures. So I was like, oh, that's really low for the line. And then I was counting some other ones. I was like, oh. But
Yeah.
love it. Am I next? Am I up for my third?
Yeah. Your
Yeah.
third and final.
So with
yeah, we are. Yeah.
Yeah, in lines with the same movie, which again is I love the movie. I know Victoria and I were talking about how big of fans we are of that movie. I picked an alien, so you guys might be able to imagine which alien I'm picking. This guy, Rio Durant.
Yeah.
This is the Force Link version, which isn't a terrible figure. It's pretty good. But if he could get super articulation and paint deck, and a very detailed paint deco, I would be so ecstatic for that figure, because just the form of him screams action figure, right? Because of the 4 arms, and I'd absolutely love him to be in the TVC. So I tried picking an alien. We
did jump ahead, didn't we? Sorry, Victoria. Did you say your second one, or did I just jump in?
Oh no, I said my second was the Ahsoka clone trooper.
Yes, you did. Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, I totally agree, mate. Rio is that 5 POA figure is actually not too bad. It's not too bad. And the 6-inch version is great. I have that one. One of my very few 6-inch figures, as you say. But yeah, definitely need him. So I love the Solo film, and there's this. If you started going down the rabbit hole of Solo, there is a lot you would want from Solo.
Yeah.
And that's probably half the problem, isn't it? Because it'd take them 3 years to do them all. So
Therm scissor punch.
Yes. There's so many great aliens in that Sabak scene, in both Sabak scenes, right? And there is so many. Just buying the visual guide to that movie is so much fun to go through and see all of the different aliens and diversity that they had in that movie.
Mm.
All right, Tim, what do you got?
It's Victoria's third, isn't it now?
Oh, she's next.
Third one.
Sorry.
Okay, so this one has been done. So I don't know. It hasn't been done in TVC, so I don't know if it really qualifies. But if it doesn't, I have a runner up for this. But Count Dooku, Count Dooku has been done in super articulated form a couple of times, but never in TVC. So I think that's kind of a huge gap that absolutely needs to be filled. They have this nice 6-inch one that came out last year, and it's fantastic. Scale that down, put him on a gorgeous vintage card back. Maybe you can even say Darth Tyrannus instead on there. Who knows? Throw in the lightning, and I would be all over that.
Yeah, totally agree. He's another one, isn't he? Oh man. It's just like, when are they going to get to these? With all the new stuff that's coming out, when are they ever going to get to these?
If you take and just plan out yourself your own list of assortments, just start off with assortment A and make a 4 or 5 figure list, and then B, then C. You find yourself going very far down the alphabet and saying how daunting it is to be in their shoes now and have all of this backlog that they have to fill, or taking a few years off, and then trying to be conservative with media launches and how well they're going to be received. And there's I think I made a list going down to I forget, NOP or one of those letters, and I just could have kept going. and I stopped. And there was like media I was leaving out. I was like, oh my God, I haven't even done Rebels. Oh my God, I haven't done, you know, a certain sequel trilogy movie, or I only have 2 prequel trilogy characters. This is terrible. It's a tough task that they have to do now. I mean, the well isn't dry.
No.
It's just they only got 1 bucket.
And that's I think I said it last week about the Rebels. You know, that like not everyone's into the Rebels, but there's some good characters in that. But like the thing is, they're like a crew, aren't they? And like you can't just do one. You can't just go, here's one Rebels figure, Ezra, for example, and have that, you know, because it'd just be completely out of sorts with everything else that you've got. So when, if ever, will we ever get, you know, 3, 4, 5 of the Rebels crew? I just can't personally see it happening. But you know, if there was a gap of media that they could start filling out some of these characters, then you could potentially see it happening because they could revisit stuff. But the more stuff that's coming out, then they're going to want to be doing things from that, and then the odd little slots that they've got spare will give you your you know, your odd character, like we got last year. You know, we got a couple from Rogue One, for example. You know, that completely surprised me. I thought Rogue One was out of their minds. You know.
Yeah, and that's where you kind of hope that maybe some HasLab initiatives, some different projects can happen on there just to catch up a bit. And if the funding happens, make them. So
yeah. So my last one is, I mentioned this when I had Chris on the show, and I don't think I'm cheating by having this one, but it is Squidhead, and because I'm not, you know, you can't count the last one that we had as super articulated, so not in the slightest. So although it doesn't look too bad, I must admit, but then again, the original Squidhead doesn't look too bad. I mean, that's still a great sculpt for that time.
Oh yeah, for those figures.
It's about time that we had Squidhead.
Yeah, and that's one that you could do a pretty cool infusion of hard and soft goods together, right?
Yeah.
So.
And G-Force Racing 20 years, Bib Fortuna. Yeah, I almost picked him, but the Saga Collection one is a little bit, you know, he's not as bad as Squidhead, is he? In terms of, you know, Squidhead's years old. So, what was he? Power of the Jedi 2001? Is it the last
20
time
years ago?
Yeah, good call.
20 years. Yeah, 20 years. Crazy.
Yeah, it'd be interesting when we see some of the 96 that are new tooling, like Return of the Jedi, Boba Fett. You know, like when are we going to see some more of those that aren't just either a form of kit bash or repacking of a figure? That'll be, I think, some really exciting stuff, and give them some more confidence that as long as they're well-received characters and new tooling, we'll gobble it up.
Is that going to be one of your questions, Victoria, in the Q&A, or was it Jake? I think one of the guys said that they were going to ask that, basically about, you know, great that they're mentioning about the finishing the 96, but then what happens when it comes to, you know, ones that they can't just go back and get, you know, they can't give us that Squidhead, for example, you know.
Yeah.
The 3 they've given us today are pretty, or yesterday, that, you know, they've made easy work out of those, essentially, haven't they?
Yeah. No, I do tie that into one of the questions we're asking. So, in a nice way. So let's hope we get, you know, we find a little something out. I mean, I think more than anything else, it's just a suggestion at this point, right? Because, you know, we can say, hey, you know, if you go back to update the original 96, it'd be nice if you could do a definitive version. That way you never have to worry about it again. Nobody ever has to ask about it again. So I think at this point, you know, it's just kind of suggesting, you know, especially if it's like a main character, like we're talking about with Leia, you know, she's just so outdated. Like she just doesn't hold up. There are characters that would hold up from back then or older, but that isn't one of them. It's a main character. It needs to be nailed. You have the Black Series digital asset to utilize, and they didn't do it. So, yeah, we'll make that suggestion.
Yeah.
And you know what? I mean, even now that we're talking about this, like that could have been one you save for the 40th anniversary and say, you know what? We're going to hold off. We're going to do her right at the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, and there you go.
Totally.
It's Squid Head, okay? It is Squid Head.
I think Chris had a comment above too. He was like, if Toys R Us were still alive, we'd get the entire Rebels crew in one exclusive pack, and we'd be thrilled. Yeah, it's unfortunate that what they were able to do and fund in the hobby is missed.
So I think Jason kind of alluded to that the new Lando that we're going to be getting is going to be new, which is good news. But as you say, if I'm trying to think about these 96 ones that they've done now, and it's dawning on me a bit now that have we had any kind of new ones, and that's really worrying, because the ones that are obviously leaving behind or not doing are the ones that are 100% need a new figure. So, Bib Fortuna, Squid Head, Hammerhead, all three of those, they can't go back and do those figures. Whereas, Snaggletooth, have Snaggletooth because boom, we've got the figure, I wonder what they're going to do with the rumored Emperor that's, can you think of a figure that they could even palm us off with for the Emperor? No, thank God.
Well, I hope they don't use the body of the Evolutions one that's been used forever, and think, I know the soft goods is a very expensive thing for them to get right, because he has to be able to stand, sit down, and it has to all flow, and it's a lot involved to make those soft goods. So I worry that they cheap out, but I think with him being, such an iconic main character, they'll cost it out in other ways. Maybe they costed it out with the 3 figures we just got.
Yeah. Hope so. Right, it's 20 past midnight here. We've been going 2 hours 20 minutes. That's pretty good, but we've had a lot of people stay, so that's great. So just wanted to say thank you to everyone that has joined in the chat and listened to us talk and moan about the vintage collection. There's some positives going on. We're not always moaning about it, but we can't be sort of sitting here saying, "Oh, aren't you doing everything wonderful?" You've got to be critical and hold them account. So, but I do want to thank John and Victoria for being on today's show. John, do you just want to, obviously we've said at the beginning, but some people might have not been around. Do you just want to let everyone know where they can find you and a little bit about the group?
Yeah. John Miko. You can find me mostly on the Facebook group called Star Wars: The Vintage Collection. So as we spoke about earlier, there's about 12,400 people and growing strong, where we just share our passion for this line, and it's a great place to share your joy for it. Even find figures, trade, sell, buy, all that good stuff. And you can also find me on Instagram at the Far Side of Endor, and on Twitter with John Miko. You'd be able to find me that way too. So thanks for having me, my friend.
Thanks for coming on, man. Cheers, Mike. Thanks, mate. And Victoria, I'm sure everyone pretty much knows where to find you. A bit of a veteran. Where can they find you?
So it all started on YouTube, Victoria's Cantina. On Instagram, Victoria's Cantina. Twitter @Vic's Cantina. Facebook, Victoria's Cantina. I'm on TikTok, Victoria's Cantina. Again, Cantina Chatter podcast, Vintage Collection podcast. If you're interested in things outside that, I have the Collect Jurassic World podcast, Discoveryland podcast, and those are available anywhere you get podcasts. So come see me. I'll be happy to see you guys. Thank you, John. Thank you, Tim. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. And Blue Harvest, Tim, do I get a plug for my auction tomorrow? What is anything decent going to be on it? And will it be on your ironing board? Yeah, no, seriously, like he's going to be selling some stuff. So if you want to see what he's selling, head over to the Blue Harvest Finches Toys for his toy auction. I'll be there, mate. You know I'll be there, seeing what you've got. But yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And I'm not sure if we'll do one next week. We'll probably take a break next week and do one in a couple of weeks' time. We're only doing this one because obviously we had Fan First Friday to talk about. But yeah, thanks, Victoria. Thanks, John. If you just want to hang on for a minute or whatever, we can talk backstage. And yeah, cheers, guys. We're gonna end the stream now. So thanks for coming along, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Take care.